Lost Baba Vanga tape reveals the first city to vanish. It's not what you think. Predictions for 2025. In a world where the lines between myth and reality seem to blur more each day, a mysterious discovery has surfaced that could shake our sense of what we think we know. Deep in the quiet ruins of an old Bulgarian home, a forgotten reel-to-reel tape was found, carrying the unmistakable voice of Baba Vanga, a blind mystic whose prophecies have echoed across generations. But this is no ordinary recording. It speaks not just of vague warnings or distant futures, but of something immediate, startling, and disturbingly specific. A modern city, vibrant and unsuspecting, is named as the first to vanish, and it's not the one you'd expect. As this lost message reaches our ears, it's more than a prediction. It's a wake-up call that challenges us to listen, to reflect, and perhaps most importantly, to prepare. Because what if the greatest danger isn't what we can see, but what's silently approaching? Number 1. The discovery of the lost tape. In a long-abandoned house on the outskirts of Petri, Bulgaria believed to be Baba Vanga's final place of residence, a forgotten reel-to-reel tape was uncovered. The man who found it claims he was drawn there by a strange dream. It wasn't vivid or terrifying, just haunting. One phrase echoed in his mind upon waking, like a whispered command: "Listen before it vanishes." Inside the decaying house, tucked beneath a shattered portrait of Baba Vanga, he discovered a small wooden box. Inside lay an old tape recorder, still intact despite years of dust and silence. The reel had no label, no date, no name, only a crudely scratched symbol of an hourglass carved into the plastic. It was as if time itself had marked it for those willing to listen. Number 2. Prophetic visions from the lost tape. In a recently unearthed and authenticated audio recording, long hidden from the public eye, the voice of Baba Vanga, known across generations for her mysterious foresight, emerges once more, soft yet steady, echoing through time in her native Bulgarian. What makes this discovery so powerful is not just the voice itself, but the calm certainty with which she speaks, as though she's recounting a history not yet written. This lost tape, now drawing the attention of researchers and truth-seekers alike, carries messages that strike at the heart of our modern anxieties: the fragile nature of our advanced societies, the shifting foundations of reality, and the quiet but certain approach of forces far beyond human control. The tone is not one of panic, but of eerie clarity, reminding us that what feels stable today may be built on unseen fault lines. One of the most haunting prophecies from this tape speaks of a city of lights, vibrant, modern, and full of life, that will fall not in flames or sirens, but in an unnatural stillness. Baba Vanga calls it a storm with no wind and describes buildings melting like wax under an eye in the sky. These metaphors hint at a quiet devastation, one that strips away the surface shine of progress to expose how deeply unprepared we are for the unexpected. We often assume that if there's no war, no explosion, then we're safe, but her words suggest that destruction may come cloaked in silence, beneath the illusion of peace. In today's world, where cities compete to shine the brightest and stretch the highest, it's easy to forget that true safety doesn't come from technology alone. It comes from wisdom, humility, and preparation. This vision challenges us to look beneath the surface of our achievements and ask, are we truly secure, or merely distracted by the glow? She doesn't stop there. Another part of the recording moves into deeper, stranger territory: a fracture in time, a reality shifting like sand. Baba Vanga speaks of timelines breaking, realities overlapping, and dimensions converging. While these ideas may have once sounded like science fiction, they now echo conversations happening in serious scientific spaces, from the implications of CERN's particle experiments to everyday people noticing strange shifts in memory and perception, known as the Mandela effect. Could our collective reality be more fluid than we believe? If time itself can ripple or break, what does that mean for how we live today? This prophecy urges us to stay grounded, not in what we think we know, but in how we treat others, how we carry ourselves, and how open we are to truths that challenge our assumptions. In a world where even time may not be fixed, kindness and clarity become our strongest anchors. But the most jaw-dropping moment of the tape comes when Baba Vanga finally names a Placia city not often associated with disaster. Vancouver. Known for its peaceful streets, natural beauty, and multicultural warmth, the name lands like a bolt of thunder. Yet she doesn't speak of war or human-made collapse. Instead, she describes nature rising. The water will rise, the mountain will roar, the sky will dim. These aren't metaphors of conflict, they are omens of the earth reclaiming its balance. Vancouver, set between the Pacific Ocean and active geological fault lines, fits the description in unsettling ways. With growing concerns over climate change, rising sea levels, and the Pacific Ring of Fire's seismic potential, the prophecy no longer sounds like fantasy, it sounds like a warning we've heard in scientific reports, but perhaps have not emotionally accepted. Her message calls on us not to fear nature, but to respect it deeply, and to live in harmony with it rather than above it. So how should we respond? Not by panicking or retreating into fear, but by living more mindfully. Let Baba Vanga's message be a reminder that life is fragile, cities are not eternal, and even the most stable-seeming realities can shift. But we are not helpless. We can strengthen our communities, live more sustainably, and most importantly, treat each day with reverence. If a city could vanish without warning, what does that say about how we spend our time? About the grudges we hold, the stress we carry, the love we delay expressing? Whether her visions are literal, symbolic, or somewhere in between, their true value lies in how they wake us up to the impermanence of life and the need to cherish what truly matters. As this lost recording now reaches our ears, it offers more than just predictions. It offers a mirror. A mirror to our modern lifestyles, to our spiritual disconnection, and to our need to reconnect with both the earth and each other. Let us not wait for disaster to find meaning. Let us begin the journey of awareness now, with open eyes and open hearts, using these warnings not to tremble, but to transform. Number 3. Scientific and symbolic interpretations. When we listen closely to the mysterious predictions found in the newly uncovered Baba Vanga tape, especially the part where she names Vancouver as the first city to vanish, it's hard not to ask ourselves, what could she have meant? Was she pointing to something symbolic, or are we looking at a genuine warning grounded in real-world science? Let's take a step back and understand what makes this prophecy so chilling. Vancouver isn't just a peaceful, modern city, it also sits directly on the Pacific Ring of Fire, one of the most geologically active zones on Earth. What does that mean for us? It means the ground beneath the city is constantly under pressure, with tectonic plates shifting in ways we can't see, but that scientists say could one day trigger a massive earthquake, often referred to as the Big One. And as if that isn't enough, Vancouver is surrounded by natural elements that hold incredible power: the threat of rising sea levels due to climate change, and two nearby volcanoes, Mount Baker and Mount St. Helens, that haven't forgotten how to roar. Have we become so used to comfort that we've stopped paying attention to the signs nature constantly gives us? The phrase, "a city of lights will burn without sound," now starts to take on new meaning when you consider what could happen in a volcanic event or a massive quake. Volcanic ash, unlike flames, doesn't crackle or roar. As it spreads, it moves silently, blanketing everything in grey. And what about the climate changes we see around you's unpredictable weather, seasons out of sync, extreme heat or storms with no warning? Could this silent fire, Baba Vanga mentioned, be our own technology interfering with natural systems? Some theories even mention HAARP or quantum experiments, pushing the boundaries of science into realms we barely understand. You may be wondering, how much control do we really have? That's a powerful question, and it forces us to reflect on the balance between human advancement and nature's limits. Then comes the hourglass, a symbol as old as time itself. In the tape, Baba Vanga references a cracked hourglass, which opens up a host of meanings. Traditionally, an hourglass represents the passing of time, but once it cracks, it no longer flows in order. Could this be referring to a rupture in time itself, a warning that something fundamental is breaking down, perhaps in our perception of time, or even in the fabric of reality? This leads us to something even more curious, the hourglass being linked to the Orion constellation. In the sky above Vancouver, Orion shines bright, but Baba Vanga cautions, watch the stars. When they fall, the water will follow. That sentence carries an eerie weight. What could falling stars mean? Are they literal meteor showers or cosmic events? Do they point to a loss of guidance, a moment when we stop looking upward for meaning and instead drown in the distractions of daily life? When we look at all these pieces together, geological facts, symbolic warnings, astronomical signs, they form a picture that is both mystical and grounded in reality. The beauty of Baba Vanga's message is that it doesn't just scare, it invites us to become more aware. So, let me ask you, how present are you in your own life? Are you watching the signs, both within and around you, or are you waiting for something big to shake you awake? These predictions, whether literal or symbolic, are not meant to paralyze us with fear, but to shake us gently toward mindfulness, resilience, and responsibility. Because at the heart of every prophecy lies a shwasano, just about what we believe, but about how we live. And that brings us to what really matters. The lesson here is simple, yet powerful. Live in harmony with the world, not above it. Respect the earth, pay attention to the sky, and stay grounded in kindness and awareness. Life can change in an instant, sometimes without sound, sometimes without warning. But if we stay connected, if we live with purpose and humility, we won't be caught off guard. Instead, we'll be ready not just to survive, but to help others through whatever may come. Because in the end, the future isn't written in stone. It's written in how we treat each other, how we respect nature, and how we choose to act when we are given a warning. If you've watched this far, thank you for being here. Now, tell me in one short comment, do you believe Baba Vanga's warning is symbolic or scientific? Just type symbolic or scientific below. Number 4. Global implications. Let's take a moment to reflect on the deeper meaning behind what Baba Vanga's lost tape reveals, not just about Vancouver, but about what may come after. In her quiet, haunting voice, she doesn't stop with the prediction of one city's fall. She points to something much larger, a shift that could ripple across the globe. Vancouver is only the beginning, she says, and from there her words begin to paint a picture of a world turning upside down. She speaks of cold lands that will burn and hot lands that will freeze. Phrases that might sound poetic at first, but reveal a chilling reality when viewed through the lens of climate change. Are we paying attention to the signs around us? We see wildfires raging in regions that used to be known for their snow, while areas close to the equator now experience sudden cold snaps. Is the balance of the Earth beginning to shift? Scientists have warned us that climate systems are interconnected, and once one part begins to collapse, the others may follow. Baba Vanga's vision aligns eerily with this idea of a chain reaction on change setting off another until the entire planet feels the weight of it. But she goes even further, saying, people will walk across oceans and speak with the dead. What could that mean for us? Let's explore it together, because this isn't just a warning, it's a call to awareness. The idea of people walking across oceans might sound like fantasy, but what if she's pointing to rising sea levels, turning current coastlines into submerged ghost towns, forcing people to migrate by the millions? Or maybe she means that technology will soon allow us to travel in ways we never thought possible, across boundaries, across time zones, even across the barriers of life and death. When she says, "Speak with the dead," it opens up an entirely different conversation that's already unfolding in today's world. Think about how far we've come with artificial intelligence, voice simulation, and even the idea of consciousness transfer. There are already programs that can recreate a person's voice and personality using data left behind after death. Could Baba Vanga have been seeing a future where our grief is softened, complicated by technology's ability to simulate the presence of those we've lost? And if so, how do we draw the line between comfort and delusion? As the Buddha once said, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. Could it be that Baba Vanga is guiding us toward that same insight in her own way? We live in a time of incredible transformation, and this tape serves as both a mirror and a warning. The world is changing faster than many of us are ready for. But instead of turning away in fear, perhaps we should lean in and ask, what kind of world do we want to create? What values will carry us through upheaval? Her prophecy, strange as it seems, asks us not only to prepare for change, but to change how we live now. Are we ready to support one another through displacement? Are we prepared to adapt, to learn, and to lead with compassion? The Buddha taught that just as a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life. So what does that spiritual life look like today, in an age of AI, climate instability, and digital resurrection? It starts with mindfulness, kindness, and connection, values that never go out of date, no matter how advanced our world becomes. Baba Vanga's message is not simply about doom, it's about recognizing our place in the great web of life and choosing to act with wisdom before we're forced to react out of fear. So I'll leave you with this. What can you do today to create a better tomorrow, not just for yourself, but for the generations yet to come? Number 5. Final message and theories. The final message from Baba Vanga's lost tape leaves us with a haunting and thought-provoking line. Not all who vanish are lost. Some are chosen to begin again. These words carry more than a sense of mystery. They point to a deeper layer of meaning, suggesting that disappearance is not always an end, but perhaps a transformation. Some believe that Vancouver, mentioned earlier in the tape, is not simply doomed to be destroyed, but rather marked as a place of rebirth, a symbolic ground zero for a new beginning. Could it be that what seems like a tragic loss is, in truth, the opening of a new path? Throughout human history, many great civilizations have fallen, but from their ashes rose something new, shaped by the lessons of the past. Just as a forest fire clears the way for new growth, Baba Vanga's message might be reminding us that sometimes, only through great upheaval do we find the chance to rebuild not just cities, but values, priorities, and the way we live together. Theories now suggest that this vanishing may not mean destruction in the way we typically fear. Instead, it might point to something more like a spiritual or dimensional transition, perhaps even a portal that separates the old world from the new. In Buddhist teachings, we are reminded that every morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. This quote invites us to consider that the present moment holds the seed of our rebirth, and perhaps those chosen to begin again are not just survivors in a physical sense, but people who are awake spiritually, prepared to guide others toward a new way of being. If we reflect on the idea that some are chosen to begin again, It naturally raises the question, what qualities would make someone ready for such a role? Is it strength, wisdom, compassion, or perhaps the willingness to let go of what no longer serves humanity and to plant the seeds of something better? In our modern lives, filled with endless noise, distraction, and division, Baba Vanga's words urge us to slow down and reflect on where we're heading, not just as individuals, but as a global family. Could we be missing the signs that change is not only coming, but needed? The vanishing she speaks of may be less about geography and more about consciousness. A portal, after all, doesn't have to be physical. It can be a turning point in awareness, a chance to awaken from the habits that no longer align with the future we need. The only real failure in life is not to be true to the best one knows, said the Buddha. So what if Baba Vanga's last message is not a prophecy of doom, but a call to rise to become ready, not by surviving a disaster, but by living each day with purpose, mindfulness, and compassion? In the end, perhaps the ones who begin again are simply those who choose to live differently now. The lesson from the prophecy, what should we do? Whether you believe Baba Vanga's prophecy is a glimpse into the future or a symbolic warning, one thing is clear: it shakes something deep inside us. Not out of fear, but because it touches a truth we often ignore. Life is fragile, and the world we live in is more delicate than we like to admit. So, what should we do? Point 1. Number 1. Wake up. First, we wake up not just from sleep, but from the fog of routine, distraction, and assumption. Many of us live as though tomorrow is guaranteed, caught up in the noise of everyday life, rushing from one task to another, postponing peace for some distant future. But life, in its essence, is unpredictable and fragile. Prophecies, warnings, and even unexpected events that shake the world are not punishments, nor are they merely signs of doom. They are gentle yet firm taps on the shoulder from life itself, nudging us to return to awareness. As the Buddha said, "Ardently do today what must be done. Who knows? Tomorrow death may come." These messages are reminders to stop sleepwalking and start truly living. When we're reminded how quickly everything can change, we begin to see the immense value in things we often overlook: the warmth of sunlight through the window, the voice of a loved one, the breath that quietly sustains us. In today's fast-paced world, where we scroll endlessly and chase goals with no pause, we need to be shaken back into presence. The lesson from these moments is not fear, it is clarity. Just like the bell in a temple calls monks to return to the now, these signs urge us to cherish what is here, now. We must not wait for tragedy or prophecy to move us. Instead, we should choose awareness willingly. This doesn't mean living in anxiety or waiting for the sky to fall. It means embracing a life of deeper attention and kindness. The trouble is, "You think you have time," is a famous saying often attributed to the Buddha, and it captures the illusion that keeps many of us from acting with urgency when it comes to love, forgiveness, and peace. Ask yourself, when was the last time you paused to look into the eyes of someone dear to you, really listened to their voice, or spoke words of gratitude before it was too late? In our modern life, being busy is often worn like a badge of honor. But what use is that busyness if it distracts us from what truly matters? In Buddhist practice, mindfulness is not just meditation, it is a way of life, where every act becomes sacred because it is done with awareness. The lesson is to wake up now, not later. Love now, not someday. Heal what needs healing, speak what needs speaking, do what must be done. As Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Because you are alive, everything is possible." So let the lessons from warnings and prophecies be not a cause of fear, but an invitation to live wisely, love deeply, and walk gently with the awareness that each moment is both fragile and sacred. If this message touched something in your heart, leave a comment below with just one word: awake. Let it be your gentle promise to live with more presence today. Number 2. Live in harmony with nature. Let's take a moment to reflect on a truth that is both ancient and urgent. We must learn to live in harmony with nature. This isn't just about environmentalism, it's about our place in the world and our relationship with everything around us. Baba Vanga, the mysterious seer known for her prophecies, didn't speak of nations battling each other in this instance. She spoke of something even more profound: the earth rising. Think about that. When someone speaks of the earth rising, it's not just a physical upheaval. It's a reminder that nature is alive, aware, and reacting. It tells us that the earth, in all her wisdom and power, is not something beneath us or separate from us. She is a part of us, and we are a part of her. We are not above nature, we are part of it. That's not just poetics, it's a call to humility, to responsibility, and to connection. When you look around at the world today, floods, fires, changing climates, it's not hard to see the signs. These are not punishments, they are responses, they are messages. What are they trying to tell us? Perhaps they are reminders that our actions echo louder than we think. Perhaps they are urging us to pay attention. But here's the beautiful part. We don't need grand gestures to begin healing our bond with nature. We start small. We turn off the light when we leave the room. We pick up that piece of trash instead of stepping over it. We plant a tree, even if we might never sit in its shade. We stop pouring poison into the soil and sky, not just because it's wrong, but because we finally understand that we're only hurting ourselves. And these small acts, they are not minor. When done with mindfulness and compassion, they are deeply spiritual. In fact, they are a form of prayer and expression of love and reverence for the web of life we belong to. So, let me ask you, how do you see your role in this great, interconnected dance of existence? Are you living as if the earth is your silent partner or your servant? Do you feel gratitude when you drink clean water or breathe fresh air? Or has it become something you simply expect? These are not questions of guilt. They are invitations to wake up. Because once we do, we start to realize that the earth doesn't need saving, we do. And the way we do that is by restoring the balance, by listening more than we speak, by giving more than we take, by remembering that nature is not out there. Nature is in our bodies, our breath, our bones. She is within us, always speaking if only we would learn how to listen. Let this message stay with you. Living in harmony with nature is not just wise, it is necessary for our survival, for our peace, and for our future. What you do matters, even if no one else sees it. Every small act of care is a step toward healing, a whisper of love back to the earth who has held us all this time. Don't wait for a prophecy to come true before you act. Act now, not from fear, but from love, from a desire to live in a world that's alive and whole and sacred. The lesson today is simple, yet powerful. Reconnect, respect, and remember you are nature, and when you care for her, you care for yourself. Number 3. Reconnect with one another. Let me tell you something that might just shift the way you see the world around you, especially in times of loss, crisis, or uncertainty. You see, buildings can crumble, cities may vanish in a moment, fortunes disappear like morning mist under the sun, but the one thing that always has the power to remain, to endure, and to rebuild is the human heart. What does this mean for us? It means that no matter what happens in the outer world, we still have each other, and that is where true strength lies. Reconnecting with one another is not a nice to have. It is our lifeline. We often forget this, don't we? We chase after things, money, titles, influence, and somehow along the way, we lose sight of people. But when the storms come, it's not our job title that comforts us. Not our bank account that saves you, it's the people who show up, the ones who stand with us, the ones we can cry and laugh with. So the real question becomes, are we nurturing those connections before the storm arrives? Buddha once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule." And love, in its most powerful form, begins with forgiveness. To reconnect is to forgive not just others, but also ourselves. Forgive the moments when we said the wrong thing, when we didn't show up, when we let ego speak louder than kindness. Can you think of someone in your life right now who may be waiting for your forgiveness, or maybe just your presence? Life is so short, and misunderstandings are often so small when looked at from a wider view. What if today, instead of holding on to anger or pride, you chose to listen more deeply, not just to the words someone says, but to what their heart might be crying out for beneath the silence? And it's not just about listening, it's about how we listen. Are we listening to understand or just to reply? The practice of deep listening is a profound act of compassion. When we give someone the gift of our full attention, we're saying, "You matter, you are seen." Isn't that what we all want at the end of the day? To be seen, heard, and loved not for what we achieve, but for who we are. Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully expressed, "The most precious gift we can offer anyone is our attention." So ask yourself who in your life needs that gift right now. When we love without conditions, something magical happens. We stop keeping score. We stop expecting others to meet our standards before we offer them kindness. We begin to see the shared humanity in every person, the same longing for safety, for peace, for joy. And through that, we begin to rebuild not just structures or systems, but trust, community, and meaning. What kind of world could we create if each of us chose love over judgment, presence over distraction, and compassion over competition? So, in the face of prophecy, change, or even the end of what we know, we must remember, what truly lasts is human connection. That's our responsibility and our opportunity. Are you willing to be the one who reaches out, forgives first, listens with your heart, and loves without walls? Because if you are, then no matter what happens around us, something far more powerful will rise, a community, a bond, a shared light that can never be destroyed. Number 4. Strengthen our inner world. Even if the world outside changes in unpredictable ways, if politics waver, technology accelerates, or the ground beneath our feet seems to shift, what must remain unwavering is our inner strength, our spiritual grounding. This strength does not come from rigid control, but from cultivating compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom in our everyday lives. The Buddha once said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can, and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." This timeless teaching reminds us that while the outer world may offer comforts or distractions, it is within our own hearts and minds that we find true peace and clarity. In times of confusion or fear, turning inward is not an escape, it is a return to the source of all clarity. Just like a tree draws nourishment from deep roots to stand tall against the wind, we too must grow roots of understanding and calm. Strengthening our inner world means taking time each day to reflect, to observe our thoughts without judgment, and to act with kindness even when it's difficult. In a society that often praises speed and surface appearances, cultivating stillness and sincerity is a radical act of self-preservation and compassion. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it." This isn't just about feeling good, it's about training ourselves to recognize what is real and meaningful. When we are mindful, we are not dragged along by the noise of the world. We learn to pause, to breathe, to choose our response rather than react blindly. That choice, made over and over again, shapes our character and our destiny. And in doing so, we become the kind of person others can rely on, not because we are perfect, but because we are stable, kind, and wise. In today's world, where mental and emotional exhaustion are common, your inner steadiness becomes a rare and beautiful offering. So tend to it like a sacred fire, feed it with honest reflection, protect it with healthy boundaries, and share its warmth through your actions. As the Dalai Lama teaches, a disciplined mind leads to happiness, and an undisciplined mind leads to suffering. We all have the power to shape our minds, to soften our hearts, and to see with eyes of compassion. Let us begin, not tomorrow or next week, but now, moment by moment, breath by breath, so that no matter what the prophecy may say, we remain centered, courageous, and deeply human. Number 5. Act with purpose. The prophecy ends with a powerful reminder: not all who vanish are lost. Some are chosen to begin again. These words are not just poetic, they're a call to action, a gentle nudge telling us that even when everything seems to fall apart, we're not truly lost. We're given a chance by some grand force outside of us, but by the power of choice within us to start again with a clearer mind and a braver heart. So let's ask ourselves, are we waiting to be chosen by fate, or will we step forward and choose for ourselves? To act with purpose is to move through life not by accident, not on autopilot, but with a sense of care, direction, and meaning. It means we stop letting the days pass us by without reflection. We pause, we breathe, and we ask, what am I truly doing this for? When we act with purpose, we no longer react blindly to the noise of the world. We respond wisely, mindfully, and with compassion. We stop running after every distraction, and instead, we plant ourselves like a strong tree whose roots run deep in values and understanding. In times of crisis or confusion, it's tempting to feel small or powerless. But what if your presence, your voice, your kindness, your quiet consistency was exactly the kind of light someone else needed? Acting with purpose doesn't mean you need to do something grand or heroic. Sometimes it just means showing up, fully present, for one honest conversation. It means noticing someone's pain and offering them a space to be seen. It means living in such a way that your daily actions reflect your deepest beliefs. What does it mean to you to begin again? Could it mean forgiving someone or forgiving yourself? Could it mean letting go of a path that no longer brings you peace and stepping into something unknown but truer to your heart? To act with purpose is to remember that healing isn't passive, it requires intention. It's about choosing not to become bitter from the world's wounds, but instead becoming someone who mends them, starting with your own. Every choice you make, even the smallest one, sends ripples through the lives around you. A kind word, a small act of generosity, a moment of patience. These are not nothing, they matter. In fact, these are the seeds we plant that grow into a more compassionate world. So the prophecy isn't asking you to wait, it's whispering to you, now is your time. Begin again, but this time with awareness, with heart, with purpose. So I ask you now, what is one thing you can do today, not tomorrow, not next week, that comes from your truest intention? What is one way you can be a light, however small, in the middle of the uncertainty you see around you? The lesson here is simple but powerful. We are not waiting for destiny to choose us. We are choosing to live meaningfully. The power to begin again is already inside you. Use it well. Be someone who plants healing where there's hurt and clarity where there's confusion. That's how we become the light in the dark. That's how we act with purpose. And so, whether Baba Vanga's lost prophecy is a literal warning or a symbolic mirror, its message is clear. The future is not something we wait for, it's something we shape, moment by moment, with how we live, how we treat one another, and how deeply we listen to the signs around and within us. Let us not be afraid of change. Let us be awake, compassionate, and ready not just to survive what comes, but to become the kind of people who bring light where there is darkness and peace where there is fear. If this message resonated with you, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming reflections. Until next time, stay mindful, stay kind, and remember, even when the world shifts beneath our feet, we can choose to stand with wisdom.